Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you isn't theory, it's survival. Every man over 50 thinks he can read a woman's behavior until she's already gone. The truth is, danger doesn't shout. It smiles, texts back politely, and says, "Work ran late." Tonight, I'm revealing 10 female behaviors you should never overlook. They're subtle, psychological, and deadly to your peace if you miss them. But before we dive in, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? Because trust me, every city has its secrets, and so does she. Behavior 1. The energy shift. You can feel it before you can explain it. That quiet space between her words, the way her laughter sounds rehearsed now. She still shows up, still cooks, still says the right things, but the warmth that used to live in her voice, gone. Her texts get shorter. Okay, sure. Busy. Messages that once came with hearts now end with dots. You ask how her day was, and she answers like she's reading from a script she doesn't believe in anymore. Here's what's really happening. Her energy has left the room long before her body does. Women don't walk away overnight. They drift. And when they start redirecting their emotional attention, it's not towards silence. It's towards someone, something, or somewhere else. Maybe it's a work project. Maybe it's a new gym routine. But whatever she's feeding, it's not you anymore. You'll catch small details. Her phone is suddenly face down. She laughs quietly at messages she doesn't share. She hums while getting ready, but goes cold when you walk in. When you ask what's wrong, she says, "Nothing. You're imagining things." That's not denial. That's deflection. She's protecting the new place where her energy lives. The mistake most men make: they chase the body instead of the energy. They try to buy flowers, plan dinners, talk it out, but you can't fix emotional absence with effort. You can only recognize it for what it is, the first tremor before the quake. When her presence starts to feel like a performance, don't wait for the curtain to fall. It already has. But what happens when that shift doesn't just fade quietly, when it disguises itself as compassion? The next behavior will show you exactly how. Behavior 2, the compassion mask. She'll say it softly, with eyes that almost make you believe her. "I just had a rough day. Can we not fight right now?" And just like that, the topic disappears. You stop pressing. You start comforting. Because you're a good man. And she knows it. What looks like vulnerability is often emotional strategy. The moment you approach the truth, she wraps it in tenderness, making you feel guilty for even asking. That's the power of the compassion mask. It's not tears that blind you. It's empathy used as a shield. She knows exactly when to cry, when to tremble, when to look away just long enough for your anger to melt into guilt. You'll find yourself apologizing, even when you did nothing wrong, because she's flipped the emotional mirror. Her pain becomes your distraction. You'll hear lines like, "You don't understand how much I've been trying," or "You always assume the worst." And every time you back off, because who wants to be the man who hurts a woman who's trying? But that's the trap. When empathy becomes a weapon, it doesn't soothe, it silences. Here's the hidden psychology. Compassion, when used manipulatively, isn't connection, it's control. It keeps you emotional, apologetic, and off balance. You start tiptoeing around her moods, avoiding certain topics, just to keep the peace. But peace built on guilt is never real peace. It's quiet submission. Watch how quickly her sadness vanishes the moment you surrender. That's not healing. That's victory. Because guilt isn't the worst weapon she can use. The next one is far more dangerous. It looks exactly like devotion. Behavior 3, the devotion trap. At first, it feels flattering, almost intoxicating. She's so attentive, so devoted, so invested. She remembers your meetings, brings you lunch, manages your calendar, even says things like, "You don't need to worry, I'll handle it." You think you've found peace after years of chaos. But what you've really found is control dressed as care. The devotion trap doesn't start with demands. It starts with generosity. She does everything for you, plans your life, finishes your sentences, makes decisions before you ask. You start to rely on her efficiency, her foresight, her help. But the moment you lean on it, it becomes leverage. You stop being a partner and become a project. Watch how the tone changes once her devotion becomes the standard. Forget to text back quickly. You'll hear, "After all I do for you." Miss a call. "You're taking me for granted." That's not love speaking. That's ownership disguised as sacrifice. What most men don't realize is that overgiving can be a form of quiet control. The more she invests, the more you owe. And the debt isn't financial, it's emotional. You'll feel it in small ways. Her sighs, her cold silences, the way she reminds you of her loyalty. Devotion stops being a gift and becomes a chain. Here's the psychological truth. When care becomes conditional, it's not love, it's management. And management always comes with expectations you didn't agree to. She doesn't want partnership, she wants possession. You'll recognize it the moment your independence starts to shrink under the weight of her kindness. That's when love stops feeling warm and starts feeling monitored. Because the next behavior doesn't just manage your time, it rewrites how the world sees you. Behavior. 4. The reputation thief. It starts with laughter. Harmless, right? She tells a story at dinner about how you can never find your keys, or how you once wore mismatched socks to a meeting. Everyone laughs, even you. But over time, the jokes sharpen. She starts slipping little jabs into conversations with friends, co-workers, even family. "Oh, he means well, but he's hopeless with money. He gets emotional sometimes, it's cute." Each joke lands with a smile. And a cut. This is how a reputation thief operates, not by attacking directly, but by planting seeds. She rewrites your image in small, digestible pieces until the people around you start to see you through her filter. It's subtle psychological repositioning. You think it's teasing, but it's social programming. And every time you laugh it off, you validate the rewrite. What's really happening? She's testing control in public. Private criticism doesn't sting enough. Public humor humiliates quietly. When others start to laugh with her, she's no longer joking, she's recruiting an audience. Your discomfort becomes entertainment, and your silence becomes permission. It's not about insecurity, it's about dominance. By shaping how others perceive you, she strengthens her position as the one who knows you best. It's reputation sabotage disguised as charm. And once that image spreads, she owns your narrative. When you finally try to defend yourself, you'll sound defensive, exactly as she's framed you. The trick isn't to argue back. It's to recognize the moment the laughter stops being light and starts being leverage. Because once someone learns to control your image, controlling your reality isn't far behind. And the next behavior, it won't attack your reputation. It'll hide in your reflection. Behavior 5. The digital mirage. At first, you don't notice it. She's just busy, right? She keeps her phone face down, laughs quietly at messages she never explains, and says she's just talking to work friends. You tell yourself it's harmless, until harmless starts feeling heavy. She takes her phone into the bathroom, tilts the screen away when you walk by, and the sound of a notification suddenly makes her smile. But not at you. This is where the digital mirage begins. The illusion of transparency in a world built on secrecy. She's online, but unavailable. Posting, but distant. She'll still tag you occasionally, just enough to look loyal. It's not love anymore. It's optics. A highlight reel designed to keep you calm while she rewrites the story behind the scenes. She'll justify it with the classics. It's just a group chat. You're overthinking. It's just work. But those aren't explanations, they're rehearsed lines. The truth hides not in the messages she sends, but in the ones she deletes. Emotional infidelity doesn't need touch, it only needs access. And access, in this age, is everywhere. You'll start to sense the shift. She's more alert when her phone buzzes, colder when yours does. Conversations become shallow. She's present, but her mind is scrolling somewhere else. That's the psychological trick of the digital mirage. She gives you visibility without access. You see her face, but not her focus. Here's the bitter truth. When communication becomes compartmentalized, connection becomes counterfeit. And no app can fix what's been emotionally deleted, because not every threat hides behind a screen. Some sit right next to you, wearing a smile, and waiting for the next move. Behavior. 6. The Mirror Queen. She shines wherever she goes. Confident, magnetic, perfectly composed. Compliments don't flatter her. They feed her. You tell her she looks beautiful and she doesn't blush. She smirks, adjusting her reflection instead of thanking you. Everything she does is measured for effect. The angle of a glance, the pause before a smile, the perfectly timed silence that keeps you chasing her approval. You think she's captivating. She thinks you're convenient. The Mirror Queen doesn't need your love. She needs your reflection. Your admiration becomes her energy source. When she's low, she provokes you just enough to make you chase again, to reassure her that she still matters. One cold look, one sigh, one calculated withdrawal, and you find yourself trying harder, saying more, giving more. You think you're fixing something. She's just refilling her tank. She'll compliment you, but only when it reflects back on her. You make me look good, she'll say, and she means it literally. Her attention is transactional, not emotional. The moment you stop feeding her ego, she withholds warmth like oxygen. Her affection isn't connection, it's currency. Here's the psychology. Narcissistic control doesn't always scream, it sparkles. It keeps you orbiting her confidence while quietly erasing your own. Every interaction becomes a mirror test, you measuring yourself through her reactions. And the more you depend on her validation, the smaller you become. Eventually, you'll realize she never loved you. She loved how she looked standing next to you. But not every woman feeds off admiration. Some feed off control. And the next one, she won't need to flatter you to own you. She'll make you feel guilty for being free. Behavior 7. The Guilt Architect. She never raises her voice. She doesn't have to. Her silence is louder than anger, and her sighs speak fluently in blame. You'll hear it in the way she says, "After everything I've done for you," or, "I guess I just care more than you do." Those aren't words of affection. They're emotional invoices. Every kind act she performs quietly turns into a debt you're expected to repay. This is the guilt architect at work. She builds invisible cages out of obligation. At first, it feels like gratitude. You appreciate her sacrifices, her patience, her care. But soon, every disagreement feels like betrayal. Every no sounds like cruelty. She's designed it that way. By framing herself as the one who gives more, she makes you fear being the one who takes too much. You'll catch yourself apologizing for needing space, defending choices you never should have to justify, explaining why you couldn't predict her disappointment. And she'll meet each explanation with a look that says, "See, you never get it." That look is the blueprint of her power. Here's the psychology. Guilt erodes confidence faster than anger ever could. It turns you into your own warden, monitoring what you say, trimming your wants, shrinking your freedom just to avoid her disapproval. You're not in a partnership anymore. You're in emotional debt collection. She doesn't scream to control you. She sighs. She doesn't demand. She implies. And the result is the same. You live to keep her comfortable. But guilt isn't the final design. Some women don't just rewrite your emotions, they rewrite your reality. And the next behavior, it will make you question what actually happened, even when you were there. Behavior 8. The story rewriter. It begins with the smallest details: a word misplaced, a date changed, a memory corrected. You're sure she said one thing, but now she insists it was another. You must have misunderstood, she tells you, calm, certain, almost amused. You start doubting your own recall. That's the trick. The story rewriter doesn't lie outright. She reshapes reality until her version sounds cleaner, safer, and more convenient. At first, it feels harmless. Everyone misremembers sometimes, right? But soon, your shared history starts to sound unfamiliar. Events you both lived now sound edited. Arguments that happened never happened. Promises she made. You're imagining it. The more you try to defend the truth, the more defensive she becomes. And eventually, you stop trying. That's how she wins, by exhausting your certainty. This behavior isn't about deception, it's about control. By constantly adjusting the narrative, she trains you to question your own perception. You start thinking, maybe you are too sensitive, maybe you overreacted. That's not confusion, that's conditioning. It's a psychological tactic known as gaslighting, though she'll never call it that. To her, she's just clarifying. Here's the brutal truth. Once a woman starts rewriting the story, she's no longer protecting love. She's protecting her power. Every revision shields her from accountability and keeps you chasing understanding instead of peace. You'll know you're trapped when you start apologizing, just to end conversations that no longer make sense. That's not communication, it's surrender. And when reality itself starts to feel negotiable, it's already too late. Because the next behavior doesn't just twist words, it drains something far more dangerous: your emotional energy. And once that's gone, you won't recognize yourself in the mirror she built for you. Behavior. A renine. The peace leech. Every disagreement leaves you drained, not angry, just empty. You walk in calm and walk out questioning yourself. That's how the peace leech operates. She doesn't argue to solve things. She argues to feed. Her emotions need fuel, and your reactions are it. At first, you think she's just sensitive, passionate, emotional, but soon, you notice the pattern. Every quiet evening turns into tension. Every calm moment becomes a storm. She thrives on drama because peace makes her invisible. As long as you're reacting, she knows she still matters. Psychologically, this is called emotional regulation outsourcing. She dumps her chaos onto you so she can feel stable again. The cost? Your peace, your focus, your sense of calm. Eventually, you'll start apologizing just to end the noise. But that's not resolution. It's exhaustion disguised as harmony. You're not keeping the peace, you're paying for it. The only way to win is not to play. Stop explaining, stop fixing, let her drown in her own noise. Because silence is the one thing she can't feed on, and when the chaos finally ends, it won't be because she changed, it'll be because she's already gone. Behavior 10. The ghost gardener. One day, you'll wake up and realize she's still there, but not really there. She smiles at breakfast, nods at your stories, even says, "I love you," out of habit. But her eyes, they're elsewhere. That's how the ghost gardener moves, quietly, methodically, tending to her next chapter while you're still trying to fix the last one. She doesn't leave in chaos, she leaves in calm. You'll feel it in the small silences, the way she doesn't argue anymore, the way she agrees too easily, the way her laughter sounds rehearsed. She's not avoiding conflict, she's disengaging. Her bags aren't packed yet, but her heart's already gone. Every "I'm just tired," every "I need some space," is emotional pruning, cutting ties branch by branch until there's nothing left to hold on to. The tragic part: she'll still play the part for a while. She'll cook, text, show up at dinners. But you'll sense the absence in her presence, the emotional ghosting that happens before the physical one. She's already rehearsing life without you, rewriting her routine so you fit less and less into it. Psychologically, this is emotional withdrawal, the final phase before detachment. Once a woman stops fighting, she's not peaceful, she's finished. The arguments stop not because she's healed, but because she no longer cares who wins. You'll chase the old version of her, trying to reignite a flame she already buried. And the more you reach, the faster she fades. By the time she finally says, "I think we need to talk," the conversation's already over. You just didn't hear the ending. Because love doesn't vanish, it relocates. And by the time you notice the silence, she's already planted it somewhere else. See you in the next video.